financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic, in view of all the talk about the tax cut, is still, I have tax problems. Jenny Wingle, nice to have you back. Tax manager from Thav Gross.
Yep, it's going to be an exciting show.
Jeffrey Kirshner.
Nice to be here. Even though I deal with a lot of clients that don't have much money, they're still dealing with a lot of tax issues.
Tax issues are out there, and they're serious. We're going to do a case study. Gary has a tax problem, and I'm going to play the role of Gary as we go forward, explaining my tax problem to Jenny and Jeff and see what we can come up with. And then sometimes I'll jump back in as the lawyer as well. I haven't filed my tax returns for 2016, Jenny. I owe taxes from 2013 for $25,000. I owe taxes from 2014 of $20,000. My guess is I probably owe $15,000 for 2016. 2015, I'm proud to say, I have filed and paid, is not an issue. I also owned a diner called Gary's Diner. I was in the restaurant business. It closed in 2014, and I struggled with the company and did not pay and fell behind on the payroll taxes, and I owe $75,000 of employee federal payroll taxes that didn't get paid at the time we closed the business. I have a home. It's worth $250,000. I have a first mortgage of $200 on it, second mortgage of $30, so I have equity of $20,000. I've got 2 cars that I lease. I have no savings, no IRA, and I'm now managing a restaurant, a nice bistro in town, making $65,000 a year. I'm married and I have 2 kids. On top of this, I also have $100,000 of credit card debt because I ran up the credit cards to put the money into the business to try and keep the diner going. So these are my problems. I need to figure out what the solutions are. So first of all, what about my unfiled tax returns for 2016?
Well, we're going to have to get 2016 filed. First, I wish you would have filed timely because we have the 25% failure to file penalty, and that works up pretty quickly at 5% per month up to the 25%. So you get there within 5 months. So we want to get you filed. There is going to be the failure to file penalty. However, in order to either consider a bankruptcy or an offer in compromise or any collection alternative, you're going to be required to be current with your return. So the best thing we can do is get that filed, and then we'll worry about the liability later.
Now, when you say current in terms of filing, not current in terms of paying.
Right. Current with your filing, and then we have to make sure you're compliant going forward. So with your job at the bistro, we would make sure, it sounds like you're a W-2 employee, that you have the appropriate withholding, so that you don't incur an issue in 2018.
All right, let me jump into lawyer hat out of being Gary and the diner owner. There's 2 penalties that come into play that we see all the time in tax returns: failure to file and failure to pay. Failure to pay is an understandable penalty. If you don't have the money, you don't have a printing press to print it, and that penalty you sometimes do incur. You'd rather not, but if you do incur it, it's not 25% like failure to file. It's 0.5% per month up to 25%. So it takes 0.5% per month times 12 months is only
6%.
even less. 0.5% is 6%. Yeah, there we go.
Thank
Yeah,
You brought me here for disability and for my math skills, but thank you.
So up to 4 years before you've even incurred 25%. But the failure to file is a dumb penalty. because it doesn't do you any good. It doesn't accomplish anything for you. You can always file your return and you save 25% of the tax because that's 5% a month for 5 months. So the moral there is you don't want to incur that penalty. If you have, it's not the end of the world. You know, it's not shame on you. But if you incur that penalty next year, shame on you because we're telling you it's a stupid penalty to incur.
But
I understand failing to pay. If you don't have the money, there's nothing you can do.
But isn't there one other penalty, though, Jenny? What happens in scenarios where people actually don't file their own tax returns? What happens with the government filing for you?
Well, that's different. It's not necessarily deemed a penalty, but it's called a substitute for return when the Internal Revenue Service files for you. And that means that they've made a request for your return, you didn't file it. So in some situations, what happens is they just pick your last filing status, are you filing separate, head of household, or single, but you don't get the benefit of any deductions.
And how long before that triggers that they will file for you?
It can be anywhere from a year to 10 years, because if you haven't filed your return, that clock on being audited doesn't start ticking.
And there's another penalty that goes with that, or another detriment, in that bankruptcy, you can discharge income taxes in bankruptcy if you meet certain criteria, meet the rule. But you can never discharge an income tax obligation in bankruptcy if you didn't file your return yourself. If the government files for you, it doesn't count. So that's a bad outcome that you always want to avoid. Let me summarize the issues that Gary has so that when we go through how we're going to tackle them. We've already talked about the unfiled return. I've got unpaid taxes for 2013 and 2014 of $45,000. I haven't filed and paid my taxes for 2016 of $15,000. I have unpaid payroll taxes of $75,000. I have the credit card debt of $100,000. The key rules in play are what taxes can I discharge in bankruptcy, and how does income tax versus payroll tax differ? Can I ever discharge payroll taxes in bankruptcy?
No, you cannot discharge the payroll taxes. You can discharge the income taxes if they came due 3 years ago, were filed 2 years ago, and the last assessment was 240 days or more.
We always call that, in our office, we call that the 3-year, 2-year / 240-day rule.
Right.
Most practitioners don't even know about it, but it's a great rule that allows us to discharge the taxes. A discharge is the simplest way of getting rid of a tax, but you can't do it for that $75,000 of payroll taxes. We'll be back after the break.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Simasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Simasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP.
All right, now let's go through step by step how we're going to deal with this issue. And here's something that is important to understand. There's two sets of law that we're going to use to solve Gary's problem. One set won't do it alone. The payroll taxes we can't get rid of through bankruptcy, but we can get rid of the payroll taxes, and we can also get rid of any other tax debt that we have, potentially through the offer and compromise process from the tax law standpoint. Bankruptcy will take care of the credit card debt and income taxes to the extent they meet the 3-year, 2-year, 240-day rule.
Right, so looking at his, he's got the 13 and the 14 and 2016 that he's going to owe for. We know if we look at 2016, clearly he's not going to meet the rule.
Because it's not going to meet the rule because it hasn't been 3 years since the tax return's been filed.
So if we look at 2014, that was due, assuming you didn't file an extension, April 15th to 18th, depending on that year of 2015, which means come April of 2018, that tax will be dischargeable. So Gary is the perfect client that I like to see in my office because I'm able to analyze both the tax side and the bankruptcy side in order to figure out whether we need one remedy, two remedies, and what the timing should be, because that's important.
But how does this happen that for 2000, we're in 2018 now, you've got 2013, 2014, where you've got taxes that you haven't paid? Why hasn't the government done something sooner than this?
Well, unfortunately, the government, unfortunately, the government doesn't have the resources to instantaneously grab everyone who owes taxes or doesn't file. So a lot of times it does take a few years to catch up. First the return is filed and then it's processed, and then the IRS has a series of notices that they go through before they are going to levy you. And someone like Gary who's changed jobs, the computer isn't easily matching up his W-2 because he's probably changed jobs. They may have issued levies to, where he was receiving income
Gary
prior.
may have just started working and gotten the job that I'm Gary. I just started working 3 months ago managing the restaurant. During the period where I was closing the restaurant down, I was just scratching doors to make ends meet is really what it comes down to. So there wasn't any money for the government to grab.
Right. So, and there's a lot of reasons at this dollar amount too, and right now, even at the higher dollar amount where they assign it to the field, I've had taxpayers waiting 1 to 2 years after it's been assigned to a local office before there's someone able to pick up the case and try to start actively pursuing it.
It's a good question because it really creates the time frame, and what people need to realize is, like, take Gary's situation, like it's January and you're in talking to Jenny or Brian or myself, and we're analyzing it and saying, okay, we need to wait until at least April of 2018 so that we can file a bankruptcy and discharge the 2014 taxes. And a professional who doesn't know what he's doing, who doesn't understand the bankruptcy laws, will work to discharge income taxes, which unfortunately a lot of bankruptcy attorneys do not know the tax rules that apply to bankruptcy. They'll come into the office and they'll file the bankruptcy in February or March.
And it's too early to do that.
It's too early.
Right.
The worst case I saw was a
13
client.
gets covered, but 14 is missed.
I had a client come in and I says, your taxes should have been dischargeable, and I pulled up the transcripts and I said, can I see your bankruptcy paperwork? It wasn't from our firm, and I took a look and I realized they filed the bankruptcy 1 day too soon. $75,000 didn't get discharged based on 1 day.
That's malpractice. That's terrible. But it happens.
It does happen.
There's two bodies. The bankruptcy attorneys don't understand the tax laws. And then the company that you go for the tax service, they don't, even if they know that the taxes can be discharged in bankruptcy, they won't tell their client because they're not lawyers, they're not bankruptcy attorneys, they don't file bankruptcies, they want to do the offer and compromise route. The problem is this: offer and compromise, if you qualify, and we're going to get to it, works well, but it has a condition. It has a 5-year rule that says even if your offer is accepted, you have to stay clean on your taxes for 5 years, filing timely and paying all taxes due. Otherwise, the government revokes the offer. We call it the stay clean rule. And it's still a good deal, but it's not as good of a deal as discharging the taxes in bankruptcy. Because once you discharge them in bankruptcy, there's no stay clean rule. They're gone, and they're immediately gone.
Right, and in some instances, my clients would say, I don't want to file bankruptcy, I don't care, let's file the offer. And in that case, I present both options and let the client choose. However, in Gary's case, he's also got the $100,000 of credit card debt.
He's got to file the bankruptcy to get rid of that.
So in my mind, I would be advising Gary, I'd take a look at this and I would say, it looks like you're going to need a two-part plan. Because we know that bankruptcy is not going to discharge the unpaid payroll tax of $75,000 plus the $15,000 owed for 2016 plus any liability for 17. So in my mind, I would say we need to file the bankruptcy first. And the reason is you can't have both a bankruptcy and an offer and compromising pending at the same time.
So we file the bankruptcy, we get rid of the $100,000 of credit card debt, we get rid of the 2013 and 2014 taxes.
Right, and the timing is important is because an offer and compromise can take anywhere from 8 months to 24 months to complete, whereas the Chapter 7 bankruptcy is going to be done in a few months. So
3
it
to
makes
4
sense
months.
to do that first and then file the offer immediately after.
You know, when we talked about, you mentioned before, some clients, you know, there's always this aversion and anxiety about filing bankruptcy. But in Gary's case, in my case, if I'm Gary, it's a no-brainer.
Right.
I have no means of paying back the $100,000 of credit card debt. I've already fallen behind on the payments anyway. My credit's already trashed. Okay, so by filing the bankruptcy, that's going to clean the slate, get rid of the debt, and give me a chance to reinvigorate my credit going forward now that I have a decent paying job. So in Gary's case, bankruptcy makes perfect sense. If he was sitting in the office with me and we were debating it, it would be a debate. If he had anxiety about paying it, I would be talking him into saying it's the smarter move. You need to counsel clients to go the right direction. It's not a close call in his case. We'll be back.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Fav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Fav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you're approaching retirement and don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your investments, and your savings. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Putting a solid strategy in place with Samasco Law legally protects your assets as well as your wishes. Since a will doesn't cover you medically or financially, Samasco Law goes beyond ordinary asset management protection to safeguard everything you have.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Fav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
Time for announcements. I want to remind our viewers, listen to us Tuesdays 11:30 a.m. and Saturdays 7 a.m. for Law and Reality Live on Praise 102.7 FM. Then on Thursdays from 3 to 4 with Cliff Russell for Law and Reality Now on 9:10 a.m. Be sure and sign up for our monthly contest. Free $50 Visa gift card, Law and Reality hat, and copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Just go on the websites and click on the right spot and you can sign up. We've got seminars coming up on Wednesday, February 21st, 6 to 7:30 p.m. The credit card bills are killing me. It's now in February, and those shopping holiday credit card bills are in the second cycle. They're going to kill you. The seminar is about how to preserve your future income for savings, what's the smartest, most efficient way to get rid of the credit card debt. Sometimes it's bankruptcy, sometimes it's solutions outside of bankruptcy. We're going to have a special segment with Jeff Kirshner covering the basic elements of how to address a disability claim. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Sign up at lawandreality.com, thavgross.com, or do it the old-fashioned way and call 888-235-HELP. Then on Wednesday, February 28th, 6 to 7:30 p.m., we have a seminar. It is called When Your Parent or Spouse Needs the Nursing Home, How to Pay for It. Pat Simasko, our elder law expert, is going to lead us through the steps to qualify for Medicaid. We're going to talk about how to structure your assets and your estate to protect them from Medicaid so that the government is paying the bill for the nursing home rather than coming from your estate. You need to realize that nursing home costs run $8,000 to $12,000 per month. The average stay is 32 months. It will take away all of your available cash. It's about protecting your money if you're widowed or if you're married. Sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. And remember, you can always come in with law as a Law and Reality viewer for a free consultation. Workers' comp issues, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner, elder law issues with Pat Simasko, tax issues with Jenny Lingle, financial issues, estate planning issues with Brian Small, business issues with myself. Just go to the websites and request a consult, or you can always call 888-235-HELP. Also, check out the websites. There's free reports, how to save your home from foreclosure, Retiree's Guide to Social Security, business formations and loans and grants for small businesses in Michigan and the Metro Detroit area. I want to thank our sponsors, Thav Gross, Simasko Law, Jeff Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Okay, we're back. All right, so we filed bankruptcy. We've gotten rid of the tax debt. We've gotten rid of the 2013 and 2014 income tax debt. The $100,000 credit card debt is gone. We still have $90,000 left. We have 2016 taxes of 15. We have payroll taxes of 75. Maybe we have 2017 taxes. Jenny, how do I get rid of that liability?
Well, based on Gary's situation, he's a family of four making around $65,000 a year. It's clear to me after I go through a series of questions with Gary, my first question would be, do you have a 401k?
No.
Stocks, bonds,
No
investments,
savings.
life
Nothing.
insurance with a cash value?
No.
Okay. After that, we would look at whether he had equity in his home. Now, based on the formula...
I have $20,000 of equity in my home.
Not according to the IRS calculation in an offer. So what the IRS will do is they'll take the value of your home, they'll multiply it by what they call the quick sale value, which is 80%.
Okay, so
And-
250 times 80% is $200,000.
Right. So the IRS would then say that your house is worth $200,000 minus the mortgage balance. So in Gary's case,
now I have no equity.
there is
equity.
no equity.
Okay.
We would then ask...
So I get to keep my house.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So then we would ask whether or not he had removed money from a 401k previously, and if he did, what did he do with those funds? Because
I had an IRA. I cashed it out to put the money into the business when the business fails.
How far back do they look for that?
Right now, they've changed it with their Fresh Start program that started in 2013 to a 3-year look back.
Okay.
A lot of times when there's job loss, so in that case, we would argue that's a
So I
that's,
used it in the business. It
that's
wasn't.
been
It
a
wasn't. I didn't go on vacation.
that's longer than the
I didn't
3
go to
years.
I didn't go to Disneyland.
Right, but that's probably because of when the business closed. That's at least 3 years ago. We would also, if you paid medical bills or ordinary and necessary living expenses, and we would calculate that out, we may be able to get rid of that. We would look at any equity in the vehicles. IRS allows you to keep equity.
I'm leasing the
Right.
vehicles.
So they allow you to keep $3,450 of equity. So in his case, once we get down to income allowable expenses, it's very likely that his offer is only going to be $100.
Here's something people need to realize, because you hear all the commercials. I had $750,000 of debt and blank, 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 settled my debt for $500. The offer and compromise program is a good program, and the amount of the settlement offer is not based upon how much you owe. It's based upon what you have. It's based upon your assets and your income less your expenses. So in Gary's case, if I owed $7 million or $70,000 or $90,000, my offer amount would still be the same.
It would still be exactly the same. That's why I tell people, if you call someone and ask them whether you qualify for an offer and compromise, if before going through these lists of questions, they say, oh yeah, 10%, 20%, 5%, hang up the phone.
Because they're lying to you.
It's a complete math formula. A lot of times I'll say, did you ask this? Did you ask this? And I do a chart while we're talking. I basically do 12 pages worth of forms in 15 minutes to a half hour. And I say, you're going to qualify, you're not going to qualify, and pretty much exactly how much that offer is going to be. So
how long does the offer and compromise process take?
right now it's taking about 6 months to get assigned. So what happens is I file it, we get a letter back that says that we're going to process it, you'll be contacted within, and it gives me a date, and it's 6 months. Everything goes on hold during that time period, so you can't be levied. Then I get a phone call, they ask for a slew of documentation, we provide it within a couple of weeks, and then from there, typically we'll have it all resolved at the 10-month mark.
Let me ask you 2 more questions. If I told you the same facts, but I said I had $300,000 in my IRA, would you put me into an offer and compromise?
No, you will not qualify for an offer and compromise, assuming that you're able to remove the funds or borrow from it. There are some...
If it's in this way, in a self-directed IRA,
right,
for sure I couldn't qualify.
There are some 403B plans and 401Ks where you have to retire. That
Here's
wouldn't be
the thing
counted.
you need to watch out for. When you call these national firms, you're talking to a salesperson on the other end of the phone who's on commission. Their goal is to get your credit card number and usually to get $7,500 from you. And they're going to promise you that the tax is going to go away. And they're going to take your $7,500 and they're going to submit an offer even if you had that $300,000 IRA.
Absolutely.
And it'll get rejected. And then they'll say, oh, I'm sorry you got rejected. In that case, you've been ripped off by $7,500. We would never put someone into an offer and compromise if we knew that they wouldn't qualify. There's other plans and strategies to use. You need to be careful. Watch out. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.